Continuing on our 2 weeks road trip here in Oman, we've arrived at our next destination, Nizwa. This ancient town with over 1,500 years of history is one of Oman's best preserved cultural treasures. From spectacular fortresses to deep-rooted traditions, Nizwa feels like a journey back in time. So join us in this episode as we explore what makes this historical city so special.
I've never seen nothing like this before.
Good early morning here in Nizwa. We actually woke up super early this morning. You can see it's completely dark outside and it feels like we're the only ones on the streets. There's absolutely no one around. So the reason why I woke up so early is because apparently every Friday morning at 6 a.m. there's actually a stock market where people sell sheep, goats, camels, and you just see them lively at the market. Not meat, they are live. They're just selling them for breeding and stuff. So that's why today
They're selling
I'm gonna
for
go
meat.
check it out later on, but they're still
food.
alive maybe.
You can see 6 a.m. The locals people still preparing the market, putting fruits outside. Oh, we actually just found it. It's a special entrance. It's called Goat Market.
We're finally here at a spot where they sell animals. It's a bit dark in here. I'm not too sure if I can see. Oh my goodness. What's that one? That makes such loud sound.
Oh no. Oh, I can't lie. They look really, all of them look really sad. Like they want to go home. They want freedom. Maybe they want to sleep right now.
As it gets later in the day, you can see more goats and sheep are arriving in the market. And usually people selling them could be for milk, could be for meat, especially because, you know, in Oman in general, there are lots of, the national dish is shua, which it's lamb meat, could be from goat, could be from sheep. That's why many of them are selling for either for milk or for food or for clothing as well. Apparently these sheep and goat could sell up to 300 Omanis real, which is a lot, very expensive. It's almost like one of their primary assets, you know, selling these sheep and goats. That's why the buyers are also very carefully looking for them, looking at the quality of the sheep. By no means we don't really understand which ones are limited editions or like, you know, which ones are special. But yeah, it could mean a lot for them. Just like feeling it, touching it, like that very quickly, and they know which one is good quality. And it's so interesting because a few days ago we actually just came from the desert and we met with the local, you know, Bedouin people who are desert nomads, and we actually saw many of them here wearing traditional clothing of desert nomads. So it looks like they're selling the livestock here at this market. So they travel all the way from the desert to Nizwa and they're selling these livestock.
I'm not gonna lie, being there in person was kinda hard to watch, especially seeing the animals tied up, looking very scared, making noises that sound like cries for help was pretty sad. That's why we didn't stay long enough for the auction and instead headed to the local street market to experience what early morning life in Nizwa is really like.
Wow, remember how this morning the street was so quiet and sellers prepared their food for selling, and now it's fully with people.
On both sides, you can see they're selling different things. On this side, they're selling mostly like veggies, fruits, and on the other side, they're selling a lot of dry fish. But this seems like to be a very lively, fresh market where you can find all kinds of cooking ingredients. You know, I also feel like this market itself, it's like a gathering place for a lot of people. You can see they just meet in the middle and they handshake and they just start talking. Yeah, but it's like a morning gathering for them. That's why there are so many people all around here. So it looks like there's some kind of like dessert here and everyone is just, and if they like it, they're gonna go and buy the real ones.
Let's
So this
try.
hour.
Yum.
Yum?
Something between like a jelly, kind of porridge, sweet, and it's so smooth.
That's a very interesting dessert. It's like a sweet jelly-like dessert inside with some nuts, and also it has some kind of this kind of spices that is similar to masala tea in India.
You can try whatever you want to try.
Okay, I'll try the Oreo one because I like Oreo. It's delicious. It's like it has this very nutty texture. It's like it reminds me of peanut butter a little bit. I don't know why. Yeah.
I like it. It's so delicious.
How do you usually store these? Do you put it in the fridge or like?
Fresh.
fresh, just like,
Every day.
every day.
Yeah, it's morning.
I feel like the interesting thing about this souq compared to the one we saw in Muscat, this one is like an open market. There is like different sections of different souq. For example, we saw a fish souq just now. This one is probably like the fresh fruits ingredients souq. Over here on the other side, that is craft souq, where people make the ceramics, just like anything that is handmade. Wow, I like the Omanis hospitality to customers. They just like, give you free samples to try. They don't seem to be like, oh, are you gonna buy now? Are you gonna buy now? They're not very pushy, But other side of the world, usually they are more pushy. After walking around the souq, we started feeling a bit hungry, and after spending a couple of days here in Oman, we do realize the food options here can sometimes be a bit repetitive, so that's why we decided to try something different that reminds us more of Asian taste.
So this place, they're serving crepes, and we take one crepe with Nutella inside, and another crepe with cheese, and also honey. And also this one is karak tea. It's so famous Omanis tea that we already feel in love almost like everywhere we're drinking this one.
For me, this tea is the smell that really catches me.
Yeah.
It's like a normal milk tea in Asia. Then there's also, they add a lot of spices in it, so it smells extra special.
So that's it, and after this breakfast, we'll go to Nizwa Fort. He bought a sheep. Oh. So cute.
Maybe because the streets in Nizwa are very narrow, so in general people travel with scooter and also bicycles around the city. As you walk past these streets in Nizwa, you will realize there are lots of these like old ruins and also mud houses still remain, and many of them have been renovated into modern cafes as well. We're at the entrance and we just bought tickets. For one ticket, it's 5 Riyal. Anyway, Nizwa is the old capital of Oman before Muscat. So that's why they built these kind of defensive architectures here, and this is one of the biggest ones in Oman.
Nizwa Fort is one of Oman's most famous and formidable strongholds built in the 17th century to protect the region's capital. The massive circular tower was designed not only for defense, but also to provide strategic geographical advantage. The military design of this fort is pure genius because it included many hidden passageways, deadly traps, and cleverly constructed staircases that are meant to confuse and slow down invaders.
Also in this fort have a lot of traps and underground tunnels for people. If enemy will come, they will escape from underground.
But Nizwa Fort wasn't just any fortress, it was an absolute nightmare for anyone who tries to breach its walls. Once they're inside, intruders will find themselves trapped in a maze of narrow, twisting staircases that broke the formation, while defenders could strike with hidden openings without any warning. And the most feared defense was the boiling date syrup that's poured from secret ceiling traps.
If enemies came close to this fort, they can pull hot oil from this hose and it can damage the enemies.
They are much thicker and stickier than oil and can inflict excruciating pain that make escape nearly impossible.
Look guys, I read a lot about this fort before I came here, and apparently I know that this fort right here was built around the 17th century at the time because Nizwa, it was actually the capital of Oman, not Muscat, so that's why they built this kind of defensive castles, fort to protect the capital. These holes here, they are for defenses as well. Some of these holes are actually one-way hole where people from outside cannot see people in the castle, but people inside the castle can see the outside.
Today, Nizwa Fort is not just a historical stronghold, but it's a living heritage site where visitors can experience Oman's rich traditions, from children playing traditional games to performers dressed in ancient warrior attire, recreating battle chants and rituals.
See, one thing you notice here in Nizwa is the amount of these kind of like old ruins and mud houses still remains. Feels like, walking down this street, it's like a historical walk. This includes our hotel as well. It's like there's a hotel door and it's really heavy, very old style. It's almost like a barricade for a castle, literally. You can look at these like metal, steel door locks. So this hotel we're staying at is called Nomad in Nizwa. They actually renovated this house from 500 years ago into something more modern and aesthetic. You can see with modern design, but in a 500 years building. Everything looks very traditional and Omani style. All these walls are mud houses. So that's why it looks very cool inside, because in general the material of mud, I think it helps to keep the cool air inside the building, so that's why you don't feel hot at all, even though outside is super hot.
This is the sink for washing hands inside.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So this is the reception area, and all these are individual rooms. One room, second room, third room right there. And you can see this is the main lobby area.
When I'm walking up, I feel like I'm walking to a castle.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm
literally.
a princess in this like amazing hotel.
I almost feel like walking in Nizwa Fort just now.
Yeah, I can't even say that this is hotel. I never seen nothing like this before.
First room, second room, third room, fourth room. Okay, so we're already in a room, and as you can see, the room here looks very unique and so different to our room usually. It's just in this mud-made room. All the walls are mud walls, and it just felt very kind of like ancient and historical just staying in this room, and it's such a unique experience.
And also I can mention in this room have 2 windows, right, like this.
Yeah, it's like a wooden window, and it's very traditional as well. Like you can lock it like that. It's not like your normal glass window,
Yeah.
And this is our room, main bed, double bed. And on the other side, they've got some refreshments like the tea, mug, kettle, and then some extra blankets and also slippers as well. And there is a mirror. And here, extra storage, hairdryer. Beneath here, the fridge. This one's a mini fridge. And on this side, that's the shower and the toilet. By no means it's not a really big room, but just because we're in the city of Nizwa, the history city of Oman, so I feel like staying in one of these like mud houses itself is quite a unique experience. Also, the room door itself is pretty old school. You can see it kind of reminds me of movies when they say like, barricade the door, and then they just like, wait, lock like this, lock like this. So we're all locked in. Alright, so finally we've arrived to this particular place. It is called, I'm not too sure if I pronounce it right, but it's called Birkat Al Mouz ruins. Basically, this place got famous because most of the buildings in this village, they're all made with mud. And at our hotel, that was just one building, but this whole village, all the buildings are made with mud. But these days become ruined because I think many of the villagers actually already abandoned the buildings. Even though I saw belongings here, but I'm not seeing anyone inside these buildings. I'm not too sure if there's still someone living inside. The unique thing about this village is the irrigation system. So if you look past these old ruins and everything, over there, you can see a whole series of beautiful palm trees. And many people in the past actually grow their dates here as well. The famous date snack that Omanese people love. They grow it from here, and how they get the water source is actually through this special channel here. So they have this unique irrigation system that channels the water from the mountains throughout this whole village, passing all in between the buildings and the village, and it leads right back to the agricultural space there. That's why in the past this town was actually the agricultural hub of Nizwa. And that's why, this village back then really thrived. But, seeing it in person right now, yeah, it's just a bunch of broken ruins. But I do want to go in to see a bit further, to see what's left in this village.
When I was young, I always climbed to this kind of abandoned places.
Cool.
So fun. Remind me to my childhood.
Russian childhood, going
Russian
to
childhood.
abandoned places.
I know, it looks all broken and crumbling, but there was a time when this once wasn't just a ruin, but actually a thriving community. People lived here, they worked here, celebrated life surrounded by these lush palm trees everywhere. The village once relied on an old irrigation system, but as water became harder to get and farming methods changed over the years, growing crops here become unsustainable. The mud brick houses, which need regular repairs, begin to crumble, making them impractical to live in. But rather than demolishing the ruins, the government here chose to preserve them as a cultural landmark because it is really cool to get a glimpse into the past where people lived here over the last thousands of years.
Well, we're already driving home now, and just now was so beautiful sunset and the beautiful landscape on background, just like a mountains or rocks, I don't know, and sun. Oh, looks so pretty.
Yeah, I feel like I can never get old with like these rocky mountains in Oman, especially sunset time. So beautiful. Yeah, I think this is the end of this episode here in Nizwa.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye.
And we're going to eat now.
Hungry, 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 hungry.